Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so today we're looking at some incredible research that literally flips conventional health wisdom totally on its head. I mean, if you're deeply committed to your health, you put in the hard work at the gym, you track your macros, and you definitely make sure you're getting plenty of protein, right? It takes an incredible amount of discipline to do that, and honestly, you should be really proud of it. But what if I told you there's a hidden biological paradox lurking inside that exact routine? Yeah, today we are unpacking the fascinating science behind how your body actually processes all that fuel and why doing everything quote-unquote right might secretly be working against your peace of mind. Okay, let's dive into this with a quote straight from the research. It's one that completely stops you in your tracks. What if your steak dinner is the reason you're feeling constantly on edge? Wow. For decades, fitness magazines, trainers, and health gurus have been hammering it into our heads that a high-protein diet is the absolute gold standard, right? It builds muscle, it keeps you full, it's like the holy grail of nutrition. But this research, it challenges that core assumption in a huge way. It presents a totally shocking revelation. That massive influx of protein you're taking in might actually be the exact thing throwing your daily mood entirely off balance.
So that brings us to the central medical mystery of today's explainer. Is your fitness routine secretly triggering chronic anxiety? It's a really profound question. I mean, we're talking about the very regimen you've adopted to build your health, right? To make yourself stronger and more resilient. But if the data is showing this surprising link between excessive protein intake and skyrocketing cortisol levels, which, as you know, is the body's main stress hormone, we kind of have to ask ourselves, is this gold standard secretly driving our daily unexplainable stress?
Part 1. The Protein Paradox, Unmasking the Hidden Switch.
Now, what's really interesting about this is, to truly understand it, we have to transition our focus completely away from the bathroom scale, the measuring tape, and the mirror. We need to leave the macro world totally behind and zoom way in to look at the microscopic landscape of your brain. Meet the primary biochemical suspects in this mystery, large neutral amino acids. Specifically, compounds like leucine and phenylalanine. When you eat a high-protein diet, whether that's a massive steak, a huge piece of chicken, or that double-scoop protein shake, your digestive system breaks it all down. And what heavily populates your bloodstream right after are these large neutral amino acids. Think of leucine and phenylalanine like a massive, rowdy crowd of people suddenly flooding the biochemical streets of your bloodstream, and they are all looking for somewhere to go.
So let's walk through this microscopic traffic jam chronologically. Step 1. As we just saw, that excess protein absolutely floods your system with leucine. Step 2. All these amino acids travel up to the brain, but here's the catch. They can't just walk in. They hit the blood-brain barrier. You can think of this like a super strict security checkpoint with a very limited number of doors. And because there is just so much leucine, these amino acids violently compete for transport across that barrier. Which brings us to step 3, where the paradox really hits. Tryptophan, which is another absolutely crucial amino acid, gets completely outcompeted and blocked out. Basically, this biochemical bottleneck starves your brain of the very thing it needs the most.
Let's move to part 2, chemistry of calm versus chaos, and see how this builds into the domino effect.
All right, so we've established the massive roadblock at the blood-brain barrier. Now we really need to look at the disastrous hormonal domino effect that this exact bottleneck triggers inside your mind. In a balanced, calm system, tryptophan enters the brain easily. And this is vital because your brain uses tryptophan for serotonin synthesis. That's what stabilizes your mood and keeps you feeling grounded and relaxed. But on the other side, we have absolute chaos. In our high-protein scenario, that massive crowd of leucine acts like a brick wall, blocking tryptophan from getting through. And without tryptophan, serotonin is heavily suppressed. So your brain's alarm system basically goes off, triggering a heightened cortisol response. You literally go from mood stability straight into biological panic mode.
So the crucial point is this. A lack of brain tryptophan leads to a sudden drop in serotonin, which, as you know, is the primary hormone for mood stability. It's not just that you feel a little off today. You are actively shutting down your brain's physical ability to produce its own mood stabilizer. Listen, you can meditate, you can do all the deep breathing exercises in the world, but if the raw materials, the tryptophan, cannot get past that leucine roadblock, your brain simply cannot synthesize the serotonin required to keep you calm. The chemical factory has literally run out of supplies.
Which brings us to section 3, connecting the dots, the physical reality.
Okay, we've looked at the invisible chemistry, the blood-brain barrier, the fierce amino acid competition. But how does this actually show up in your day-to-day life? Let's anchor this abstract science to reality. Unexplained brain fog, sudden midday irritability, heightened cortisol responses, a constant feeling of just being on edge. Does any of that sound familiar?
Notice how these often hit a few hours after a heavy protein lunch. For so long, we've blamed ourselves for these feelings. We think, oh, I didn't sleep enough, or I'm just not disciplined enough to handle my stress at work. But as the data clearly proves, this physical onset of midday irritability is a direct chemical response to low serotonin and high cortisol. It is not a lack of discipline, guys. It is an overdose of leucine.
And this brilliantly illustrates what the research found. Ultimately, they frame it exactly like this. Excessive protein acts as the hidden biological switch that turns your healthy diet into a recipe for daily anxiety. You thought you were fueling your body for peak performance, but by totally overloading the system, you accidentally flipped the switch from calm right over to chaos. It perfectly captures how a seemingly flawless, highly disciplined nutritional regimen can just unwittingly sabotage your daily mental well-being.
Which leaves us with one final, deeply provocative question. Is it time to reevaluate what healthy truly means for your brain chemistry? Honestly, we really have to rethink the pervasive myth that more is always better when it comes to protein. True health isn't just about building muscle. It's about giving your brain the balanced access it needs to create serotonin and keep you emotionally stable. I really hope this explainer inspires you to assess your own diet-mood connection. Pay close attention to how you feel after those heavy meals, because the power to flip that biological switch back to